Alrighty everybody, welcome back to Culz Book Reviews. Today we do got a special episode as we check out the Cricket Chronicles. Now you might be asking, why is this a special episode? Well, that's because we got a episode planned for Best Burgers in Colorado. That will be happening at the Cherry Cricket, hopefully here in the near future, as well as we found this one via the ad for When the Footsteps Stop, which we've had the author of that one, Paul, on the channel, so check out the interview above. And his nephew Alexander here is actually the reason we really got down this pathway, so super cool. We always try to point out the good that comes from social media, and this is one of them. Just the happenstance of finding that great story, and then also finding this book about a restaurant that we are planning to feature on our show as well. So before I get too lost in the weeds, let's take a look at the book itself. Alright, so up top we do see some signage, which is real. It's the Duffy's Cherry Cricket sign, which is a real sign you can go look at. You can also kind of tell from the building behind. But yeah, this is one of the actual locations of the Cherry Cricket. There's a couple of them now in Colorado. But I would go out on the limb and say if you think of the Cherry Cricket, this is probably the sign you think of. And then kind of below that you do see a memoir, the Cricket Chronicles. You see the author's name, Alexander J. Kirkland, author of Wolves of Hemp Street. On the spine we see Cricket Chronicles and then Alexander J. Kirkland, and then AJK Publishing. On the back, which I really like the color here with it yellow and the black font, just it really pops out. Something about yellow background with the black font always gets me. I just really like that combo. But yeah, we see the cricket, and then a little bit about the book. We see the title again, Cricket Chronicle, and then perhaps maybe one of those burgers that might just win our series Best Burgers in Colorado. So we'll keep you guys updated. At some point a link above will pop up. On the side we see AJK Publishing, and then of course the ISBN if you need it. So the book clocks in at 131 pages total, and for the most part it is just writing, though as you can see there are going to be pictures throughout, mainly if they correspond with the story. They're not just loosely put here and there, they obviously connect with whatever story Alexander is talking about. So let's get to my thoughts. Oh, wait a minute. This is actually a signed edition, which is super cool. So it is super cool to have that sign. I'm a sucker for signed editions. If you guys know me, you know that. But it's also just super cool that we were able to find When the Footsteps Stop because of Instagram. And then I actually reached out to Alexander first and then was able to connect with Paul as well. Had him on the show. Really built a relationship there, and now our world is expanding. Their world isn't. Obviously this is their lives, they lived it, so nothing's changing for them. But for us as readers, it's kind of cool to go from that book here, or vice versa I suppose, because Paul does show up in here and Alex obviously co-wrote the other one, so you're having your world grown through their eyes as far as their stories. And I think that's super cool because again, these are true stories. Whereas the other one obviously was a paranormal memoir, obviously with some life stuff mixed in. This one is more life stuff and just happenings that are going on while working the restaurant business, mixed in with a little bit of paranormal, which I won't spoil for you, but it does connect back to the restaurant's roots, and I think that's always super cool. You know, we a long time ago did a investigation at the Bonnie Brae Tavern, which connected back to their history and their ownership, and I just think it's super cool that other places have that as well, just haven't been around for so long and it's still the same restaurant. It's kind of rare in today's world to see stuff like that outside of big chains or something that have been around a long time, so it's super cool. We'll go into writing style next. I really enjoy Alexander's writing style. I would say it's not a stretch to say I will pick up his other two books at some point in the future and do reviews on them as well, because I really enjoyed it. And it also answers the question. The other one's definitely in Paul's voice if you weren't able to interview Paul like we were, and obviously once you talk to him you know it's his voice. But if you thought maybe Alexander had some editing and stuff going on, no, because this one reads very different. And so that was cool to see. I think it's a fun writing style, and I like these type of books. We did one earlier this year on Bud's Bar here in Sedalia, and this one I would say is pretty similar. You know, a lot of fun little stories. This one's more Alexander's time versus history, but there are some history sprinkled throughout, so you'll learn something about it. But I think if you ever worked in a restaurant or even retail, you can probably relate to some of these stories. I've never worked in a restaurant or as a bartender or a host or anything like that, but having worked retail at a grocery store, I can definitely relate to some of these stories. It happens, and yeah, it's just super cool to see the camaraderie that was built in. And there was one part, I guess we'll kind of give away early on, and talks about like field trips. And you remember that feeling in school of going on a field trip, and it's totally true. Like, when I was reading that, I was like, I can totally remember feelings of going, just that excitement of going on a field trip, not having to go to school that day and going somewhere fun. They actually go on like field trips to different breweries and stuff to learn obviously about what they're serving their customers, just to better themselves in their jobs. It also talks about a fire that ravaged the kitchen, did close it down for a little bit, and then led to a remodel. And just that feeling that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, unfortunately, as of recent, is just not knowing what comes next. But I like the attitude of, hey, we got to do stuff and we got to keep pushing forward. You know, never try to get down. I think overall this is a super, super fun read. I do recommend it. I don't want to give away too much because it is short, but I think the couple stories right there, be it hinting at a paranormal story, the field trips would definitely connect it to me, because I think anyone can remember that feeling, right? And then, of course, just like the scariness of something going wrong at your place of work, and how do you react? When I worked at a grocery store here, it was during a pretty bad storm, hail, tornado warnings, all that kind of stuff. The roof actually came down, water was rushing in. It can be scary, so I can definitely relate. It's unusual, and I think between obviously reading this one now and the Bud's Bar and then that Max Hawthorne Gym Rat one, it definitely makes me want to get some people together and just write down our experiences, because I don't think you think, hey, I'm going to sit down and just read someone's experiences about their work and be like, whoa, that's going to be super exciting or super enthralling, but it was. I would give this one a pretty solid 8.5 out of 10. I do recommend it. It's not too hard to come by. Hopefully it'll be here on Goodreads here in a minute. I did at least reach out to hopefully get it added so I could put it on my list as well, but hopefully more of you guys will be able to pick this up. And like I said, we will be doing an episode here at the Cherry Cricket, hopefully soon, maybe even with a guest star, maybe Paul. He is mentioned in here quite a bit, so that was cool. Again, like I said, just to expand his story. I did start with his first, but I think if you start with this one and then move to his, could be just as fun. So I recommend both. Go check them out. And like I said, I will be picking up Alexander's other books here probably in 2026, just because we're getting towards the end of the year, but I definitely believe I will be picking those up, and who knows, maybe we'll do an interview with him. I think that'd be super fun. So until next time, guys, a little bit shorter of a review, but if you want more Culz book reviews, click that link to your left. For more about us here at Culz Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit the like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, have you read the Cricket Chronicles? And what's your favorite burger at the Cherry Cricket? Tell us in the comments below.